everybody, Falisha Rexford here. Today we're going to be talking about how to make your first hire. Stay tuned. Making your first hire can be extremely intimidating, but it has to happen. It has to happen for you to grow your business. So let's start with this. When I was about to make my first hire, I was closing about 60 transactions a year in real estate in Las Vegas. I'm still a licensed agent and a realtor. I own my own team. We do very well in Las Vegas, but way back in the days, I was hitting about 60 transactions by myself, completely bogged down, needing to hire what we call in the industry as a TC, or a transaction coordinator. I think what I'm about to tell you is going to transfer over to many different career fields, not just real estate. And this is why. First and foremost, I was using a coach at the time. He kindly directed me to the book titled Rocket Fuel. Write that down. Rocket Fuel. It's by Gino Wickman and Mark Winters, and it is just such a phenomenal book. It pretty much encapsulates the thought process of an entrepreneur being the visionary. So if you're watching this as an entrepreneur and you're wanting to build a business, scale a business, there's a very good chance that you are a visionary. You've got big dreams, you've got big visions, you've got big aspirations, you want to get there. But how do you get there? Trust me, you need help. You're going to need to hire somebody, and you're also going to need to learn the power of leverage, but we'll get there in just a second. The first hire is probably going to be, again, going back to the book Rocket Fuel, somebody known as an integrator. So think about that. I know my strengths. My strengths are always going to be communication, delivery. It's going to be relationships and building relationships. It's going to be the thought process behind the business and where I want to take it to. But I need somebody that's working the file and doing the emails and working the books and the Excel spreadsheets. And that shouldn't be the same person. You're actually hurting yourself when you're trying to do it all yourself. So that first hire, you are looking for an integrator. You're gonna find somebody that can do the back end stuff. And here's really a big key concept, who also probably doesn't want to be in the limelight. The visionary typically ends up being the face of the business. The integrator is the person in the background who's not the face, but making sure that that vision is being brought to light. Definitely gonna be one of those kumbaya moments. You need to make your first hire. You need to find an integrator. How do you go about doing that? It may start with just casual conversation. It may be a family member, and it may be a friend looking for a new position. Wherever you find that lead on your potential integrator, what I'm going to suggest to you is this: you need to date them. You heard me right. You need to date them, because I have made a wrong hire, and I'll tell you, hiring the wrong person will cost you so much money, time, and energy. And I would actually say time and energy sometimes is more valuable than the money that you lost. So this is how I have sidestepped that mistake. Date your hire. You are going to be, I'm sorry to sound terrible with this, but you're gonna be in bed with them. You are going to be creating, maybe not a life together, but a business together, and you have to be on the same page. Once I select my potential hire, I date them, and I tell them that. I usually am at lunch or at dinner with them, and I tell them, guess what? We're gonna date. What does that mean? We're gonna do another lunch, and then we're gonna do another lunch, and then we may just get engaged. And if we get engaged, then we may get married. And if we get married, we are bound for greatness and success. But I am going to make sure that this is good not only for me. If you're looking out for their best intention as well, you guys are going to blossom together. So date your hire. If they have a spouse, and if you're married, I also would suggest making a couple of those dates with the spouse in mind. So I brought my husband, I brought my last hire and her husband to dinner, and we had a little bit of a kumbaya. Where do you guys want to go in life? Where do you want to be? Where does this business model fit into your plans, etc.? The more you know about each other off the cuff, the more you learn about weaknesses, strengths, what motivates people, what inspires people, what encourages people. And by knowing those things, you're already going to know what fuels their fire. And if you can fuel their fire, if you can help that person be successful, successful, you in turn will be successful. So now that you've made your first hire, because you've read the book Rocket Fuel, you've dated your potential hire, you've engaged your potential hire, you've married your potential hire, now I want to really, really, really learn what makes that hire tick. I hope that if you have a business, whether it be real estate or investing, flips, what have you, I hope that you have at least weekly meetings. You have to be having weekly meetings with your team. That sets the stage not only for the week, but for the month and for the year, etc. When I check in with my team, it isn't necessarily every single week that I'm checking in on their goals, but that is definitely something that is on my list. I know what that individual's goals are, whether that be personal, financial, mental, spiritual, relationship, what have you. I make them give me 3 different goals, things that they want to attain by the end of the year. And while I'm busy building the brand, and while they're busy building the brand, never, ever, ever lose sight as that person, as a human being, and as a potential friend even. You want to tap into them and touch them on a very human level and make sure that they are accomplishing those goals. So every so often in our weekly meetings, I'll look over at one of my girls and go, hey, so-and-so, how are you doing with this? That's accountability, that's saying I care about you, that's helping push them to their goals. And by doing that, how is that person in turn going to help your business? I know that you are all out there being mega entrepreneurs, building humongous brands. Don't lose sight of your people. It's not all about you. Your people are the ones that will take you there. Your hires are the ones that are going to take you there. Make sure you're checking in on them. Make sure that you know their goals. Make sure you know what makes them tick and that you are personally reaching out to encourage them with those things. You will be absolutely astounded at how that comes back and will just fuel your own business. And now you need to learn the power of leverage. This is so hard for an entrepreneur to wrap their brain around. It is still to this day hard for me to do. If you are a visionary and you're the person, the name and the brain behind everything, you're gonna have a really hard time relinquishing the reins. And you need to learn how to do that. You have to learn to relinquish the reins, whether it be, again, in real estate, it would be photography. I'm actually not a bad photographer, if you didn't know that. It's very hard for me to say, well, I'll just take my own pictures. No, you will not. You will hire a professional photographer to take photos of your home because now you've given yourself back time and energy to go out there and make more relationships, which in turn will generate more business. So the power of leverage is huge. Once you have that first hire under your belt and you're scaling, you are going to feel, it's really a sense of feeling anxiety, overwhelmed. You shouldn't be. You always need to have that time to come back and think about how you're going to scale your business even further. If you don't have extra time in your day and you're tapped out, you need to learn how to leverage, which probably means you need to make some more hires. Sometimes very specific hires. It may be for social media development, very specific things that again will give you back your time, but leverage is key. If you truly want to grow some big ass business out there, you're going to need to hire the right people and you're going to need to learn the power of leverage. This entire video was about making your first hire. Again, it has nothing to do with real estate, really anything that you have in mind. That business model that you are out there doing, you're probably the entrepreneur. If you're the entrepreneur, you're probably the visionary. Pick up the book Rocket Fuel. You need to find an integrator. You need to find somebody who is going to help take off your concepts and your ideas. Then you need to date that hire, make sure they're good. Date, engage, marry is how I say it. Just slow down. Take time. Make sure it's the right hire. Wrong hire is going to cost you a whole hell of a lot of money. And then you want to help that person grow as an individual. If you can help them grow as an individual, not just in your business, they are in turn going to backfill you and you will see exponential growth and success in your company. Last but not least, you have to learn the power of leverage. I hope that you enjoyed a bunch of these bullet points on how to make your first hire. I hope that that helps catapult you to greater success. Again, this is Falisha Rexford. If you found this video useful, please subscribe, hit the like button, leave me a comment. I really enjoy kind of going back and forth with you guys, and I hope that this is not only helping you better yourself, but maybe you can help better me too. It's cyclical, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.